Hello and welcome to Rails Run as we preview the race that stops a nation, the 2012 Emirates Melbourne Cup. For the second successive year, we've got two French horses heading the betting in Americain and Dunedin. Will it be deja vu at the winning post in this year's Cup, or can an Aussie spoil the party? Let's find out from the experts. I'm joined today by Alan Askender from BetStar and Andrew Eddy from The Age. Welcome, gents.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Well, boys, let's get straight into it then. We'll start with you, Andrew. Number one is Dunedin.
What more can you say about this horse? He's the Caulfield Cup winner of a couple of weeks ago, the Melbourne Cup winner, 59. You've got to go back a long, long way before you can find a horse who's carried 59 to win this race, but you probably have to go back a long way to find a horse as good as Dunedin. I'm going around him, but I'd be throwing in my trifecta first four.
Okay, Alan, number two is Americain. Obviously the favourite in this race. He won this race in 2010.
Yeah, absolutely. It was $26 the best we bet. We had a client have $3,000 each way at the $26. It meets Dunedin 4.5 kilos better than when it ran fourth against it in the Cup last year. It was underdone in the Caulfield Cup. Like they're trying to run for the Melbourne Cup. They're peaking the horse at the Melbourne Cup. So it was a fantastic run, particularly when you consider it's going to get better for its run on Tuesday. Damien Oliver on board. He is in white-hot form, and you wouldn't want any other jockey on the back of your mount.
Okay, Andrew, number three is Jackleberry. Now, this bloke's a globetrotter for sure. He's coming off a 6.5 length 13th in the Caulfield Cup, but before that did win in the US.
Yeah, he did. Look, he's an English horse, which I just rate, European horse. I just rate him a couple of lengths below Red Cadeau and that sort of form, even Mount Athos. And he's got the 55.5 here. His run the Caulfield Cup was pretty good. Big track will suit. I don't really know how to rate him, but I'll be tending to leaving him out, I think.
Okay, number four, Alan, is Red Cadeau. We know a lot about this bloke. Beaten a nose in last year's Melbourne Cup, and his form this year is probably a little bit better coming into the Melbourne Cup.
It brings a tear to my eye to watch that last year's replay. We tipped it on top, and that photo was the most expensive photo finish of my career, I think. But it's $21 earlier on a couple of months ago. It's into $10 now. It meets Dunedin 2.5 kilos better off. But Dunedin just keeps beating this horse, and this horse doesn't win. So I was happy to tip it last year because it was $41. At $10, I'm happy to take it on. Okay.
Number five is Winchester. Now, he's an import from the US, another one of those, Andrew. He's had 4 runs for John Sadler. They've all been pretty good, and he's one horse for him, the 3,200 metres, looks pretty ideal.
Yeah, I think so, and we can take a little bit of heart if you've backed him or want to back him out of Saturday's run in the McKinnon. He finished okay in that race, like a lot of Melbourne Cup winners have over the past. Just think it's 8 different hemisphere. It's probably all come a little bit too late for him, but I would expect him to run top dozen.
Okay. Number 6, Alan, is Walla Ichi, and it's difficult to know what to make of this fellow because he had great runs in the Underwood and the Turnbull before he failed in the Caulfield Cup.
Yeah, I'll tell you what to make of this fellow. He's 150 to 1 and can't win.
Okay, number 7 is Cavalryman, the first of the Godolphin horses, Andrew. 3 years ago, this fellow was beaten just 2 lengths in an arc by Sea the Stars.
That's an incredible form. In fact, he's the only Godolphin horse to make the cut. The Lost in the Moment was one of those that got shut out at the end. This horse, no one's spoken about it. Godolphin are always the flavour of the week, I suppose we say. This horse hasn't been discussed whatsoever, and as you pointed out, his best is really, really good. And just the way the planets sometimes align on these days, with Frankie having his last ride for Godolphin, he's desperate to win this race too. So I'm throwing him into my trifectas.
Okay, number 8, Alan, is Mount Athos, and for mine, he's the wild card. Terrific form in England, but no run in Australia.
I think he's the most intriguing horse in the field, to be really honest. I mean, Luca Kamani's been here before, and although he hasn't had the ultimate success, he's come really, really close. He says the best horse he's brought over here ever. So you've got to back him on that. $8 is probably the question mark for me. Like, at an $8 chance, I think there's enough little vulnerabilities that you're happy to take him on as a bookie. But having said that, it's a good horse, and if it wins, it crosses the line first, I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, number 9, Andrew, is Sanegas. He's probably the pick of Bart's 2 runners. Certainly not hopeless. He was beaten less than 5 lengths in the Caulfield Cup.
Yes, and everyone that's connected with the horse, the jockeys who have ridden him, and certainly the connections, all say that they want to get him to the outside because he's been stuck in between horses, doesn't like it at all. Flemington, get him out wide, and look, he draws barrier 4. For any other horse, they'd be celebrating.
Yeah.
But last night they were going, oh no, we're inside horses again. He might jump out of the ground, but you've got to risk him.
We actually drifted him as a consequence of the barrier draw.
Yeah.
So drew 4, anyone
Amazing.
else would have short, and he went from 41 to 51.
And if he drew 24, he probably comes in.
Agreed. Yeah.
Okay, number 10 is Ethiopia. Alan, this guy is a serious racehorse. He's a Derby winner, a ripping 4th in the Cox Plate, but has it come a year too early?
My take is it is a year too early. As you said, its early stages of racing have been really super impressive, and this horse could be a really, really good horse going forward. My only little concern is maybe a year too early. 2013 Melbourne Cup market, which will go up probably on Wednesday, to be honest. But 2013 Melbourne Cup market, look out for it. It's a $17 chance now, but it'll be better value probably next year.
Number 11 is Fiorente. He's an import running for Gay Waterhouse, one of two in the race. Apparently cost his connections $1 million. Andrew, can you make a case?
Well, anything that costs $1 million has got to be worth something. Its form, I've gone back through its form. Its form's pretty good. In Europe, it's drawn barrier 2, James McDonald. I really like him as a rider. I just don't know whether he can come off the plane and 2 weeks later perform. That's certainly not the form that's won the big races over the last few years. So for me, I'm happy just to watch, and if it wins, good on it.
Okay. Number 12 is Galileo's Choice. Now, trained by Dermot Weld, Alan, that's a tick. 53.5 kilos, that's a tick. There's some good judges who like this horse.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a hard one to line up, though, in terms of its form and in terms of being able to get a really good read on it in terms of framing the market. $51 was the best we bet. It's into a $17 chance. Dermot's a good trainer and he can bring over a horse, as we know, and win a Melbourne Cup.
Andrew, number 13 is Glencaddam Gold for Gay, and it wasn't that long ago we were talking about this bloke as one of the big chances in the Melbourne Cup. His Caulfield Cup runs put paid to that.
It has. He beat Collini the start before that in Sydney, but he was able to dictate from the front. Never seen a horse dictate from the front, but possibly Might and Power 1 year in a Melbourne Cup. He'll just be attacked the whole way. I think he's got no hope.
Okay. Number 14, Alan, is Green Moon. Now, if you take out his run in the Cox Plate where it was wide, it was a torrid run affair, you think this bloke's probably got a good chance?
Yeah, I mean, a good handicap horse who probably got found out at the weight for age. So, and was one of the favourites prior to its Cox Plate run, was one of the favourites for the Melbourne Cup. And this was always on the agenda and always what it's been targeted for. So, $17 chance now to win the Melbourne Cup. And if you can ignore the Cox Plate, which I don't know that you can, but if you can ignore the Cox Plate, you can make a really strong argument for Green Moon and the Williams connections to win the Melbourne Cup.
Andrew, number 15 is Malaki Day. He's been kept very, very safe in the betting, this fellow. Comes off a 3-length fifth in the Geelong Cup where he did make ground in the straight.
He did, and the thing about this horse, there's only really one race a year he can win, and it's the Melbourne Cup. He's not a weight for age horse. He gets too much weight in the handicaps, and he's one-dimensional. He'll get back and grind home. Getting back and grinding home's fine in this race. He's got the right weight. Jimmy Cassidy aboard. Top 10 for sure.
Alan, number 16 is Moraine, another one of Lloyd's runners. Honest as the day is long, this fellow, but does he have the class to win a Melbourne Cup?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's $21 in our markets. It's probably the top pick out of Lloyd's Yard, but I'm just not convinced. There's a few others I'd probably find ahead of it. $21 is still reasonably good value.
Okay. Andrew, number 17, My Quest for Peace. I know Alan was very keen on this fellow in the Caulfield Cup. He ran well, finished a 1.5 length fifth to Dunedin, and looked like, importantly, he'll take improvement out of that.
Yeah, he did, and he was sort of left behind when they sprinted a bit, but was coming back again on the line, which is the type of run you want to see coming into a Melbourne Cup. The Barrier 1, I'm really worried about Barrier 1 for him. You missed the kick half a length. Where's he going to be? They're going to charge across. If he jumps, he can be in the finish.
Okay. Number 18 is Niwot, Sydney Cup winner earlier this prep, and last year in the Melbourne Cup he was the first of the locals home, but Alan doesn't look to be going as well this prep.
No, it doesn't. And last year in the Melbourne Cup, I think it was a $10 chance or something like that. This year's Melbourne Cup, it's a $61 chance, but 2400 and greater is going to suit it. So the 2 mile is going to suit this horse. So I think you'll see a better performance in the Melbourne Cup. Having said that, I'm not convinced it's going to be good enough to win this.
Okay, number 19 is Tac de Boistron. Andrew, another one that comes through the Geelong Cup. Really made no impact in that race though. But before that, he did beat Shawadi over 2,800 metres in France, which now looks like pretty good form.
Yeah, and amazingly, Shawadi is not good enough to run in this race. But yeah, no, that was good. The reports on him were he lost a bit of weight on the trip over. Took him a little while, Mick Kent, to get him back on. Now he's been putting on weight again in the last couple of weeks. So he can perform better than he did at Geelong, but you'd want pretty good odds about him.
Okay. Number 20 is Lights of Heaven Allen, and she ran an absolute bottler in the Caulfield Cup. Third, beaten only a length and a half by Dunedin.
Yeah, its form prior to the Caulfield Cup was a little bit average, but its run in the Caulfield Cup in coming third was fantastic. It's a $26 chance, trained by Peter Moody. The fact that it's a Zabeel will give us confidence that it'll run the 2 mile. So it'll be there or thereabouts.
Okay, number 21 is Precedence. Andrew, he's the second runner for Bart, but for mine, still a big query on him running a strong 2 miles.
Yeah, I agree. Flemington suits him. The pressure of the race won't worry him and that sort of stuff. Look, you can see him possibly dashing to the front at the top of the straight and being mowed down. yeah, struggle to be top 10 for me.
It's 100 to 1 chance, and if Bart wasn't training it, it'd be a 500 to 1 chance.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
Okay, number 22, Alan, is unusual suspect. 9th in last year's Melbourne Cup, but the way he's going at the moment would probably struggle to run 9th in the Werribee Cup.
Agreed. $301 to win the Melbourne Cup. Cannot win.
Number 23 is a billionaire Andrew, and he was an absolute eye-catcher in the McKinnon, but has drawn barrier 24, so the Connections probably have no choice now but to go back.
Yeah, that's right. Unfortunate there for Connections. They will go back. Used to be the great form line, didn't it, to run on in the McKinnon, but I just wonder now, these days with the imports, that maybe that's of a bygone era. I think he's just a couple of lengths below the best of them.
And number 24 is Kalini Allen. Strong staying effort to win the Lexus, and he's forced his way into the Cup. Definite lightweight hope with 51 kilos.
Yeah, it is. It's a $26 chance. You get as much as 301 at certain stages of the year. But the Lexus has proven to be a really good form race for the Melbourne Cup in past years. I'm just not sure this horse has got the same class as the other horses that have gone through the Lexus into the Melbourne Cup and had success. So $26 chance, but one that Betstar will be happy to take on.
That's all we've got time for on Rails Run this week. We look forward to seeing you out at Flemington and hope you're back a winner.